My name is Maddie Anderson. I'm a second year and I'm a co-founder of the Underground Collective.
There are things I knew to believe in kindergarten that I no longer understand. As I grew older, Mom grew used to me burrowing wet cheeks into the familiar soft of her chest, thick-breathed sobbing because I didn't believe in heaven, but I wanted to. I still want to. I'm still asking God to show her face.
The Underground Collective comprises 11 writers and performers of diverse ethnicities, ages, genders, and most importantly, talents. We have poets, we have actors, we have rappers, singers, dancers, comedians. The first thing that is really important to us is that we're a safe space collective, which means that none of our pieces will in any way talk about racist, homophobic, transphobic, or in any way biased topics. And also, another part of our philosophy is that we want to be inclusive and open to all types of performance, which means that we're not just slam poets, spoken word poets, we're not just rappers, we're not just singers, we're not just dancers, but rather we're all of those things, and I think that's what really sets us apart from what other RSOs on campus. And we really want to preserve that open to all types of performance aspect of our collective. Yeah, Natalie and I were brainstorming names for the group we wanted to create, and we knew we wanted to call it a collective, but we weren't really sure what we wanted to put before that word collective, so we kind of came up with Underground for a couple of reasons. First of all, we knew we weren't going to be an RSO for at least a couple of months because you can't apply to be an RSO until mid-January. So that means we don't have university funding and we can't use a lot of university spaces. So we kind of have to come up with creative, unexpected underground spaces. So that's one part of the origin of the name. And also we just thought that the word underground had a bit of interest and mystery to it and would be kind of cool and catchy, so we thought it would be a good name. So that's basically where it came from. I have been writing all my life, but I started performing poetry my junior year of high school because sophomore year, at the end of sophomore year, I had watched, as part of English class, I watched this documentary called Louder Than a Bomb documentary, which is about Chicago's high school slam poetry competition, Louder Than the Bomb, which is actually the largest slam poetry competition, high school slam poetry competition in the world. And I went to high school in Chicago, so I had the privilege of competing in it for 2 years after I joined my slam poetry team at the beginning of my junior year. And I loved that. It was really transformative for me. It really helped me grow as a person, as a writer, and it also, for me, gave me a space that made me feel the most empowered and confident of any other space in my life.
I pray to something. Sometimes if I'm in an airplane, sometimes if I'm in church, sometimes for my grandparents that they stay alive at least until I have babies, sometimes for my mom that she finds someone to take away her lonely, sometimes for myself that I don't fail and that I don't fail at love. I'm looking for God everywhere.
Yeah, I really like, in terms of just page poets who write chapbooks or manuscripts, I love Patricia Smith and Terrence Hayes and Tafias Faizullah. In terms of spoken word poets, I really love Anis Mosjani and Miles Hodges and Zora Howard and many more. Those are just a couple. I think for me individually, writing is definitely first and foremost about expression for me. It's more about speaking what I feel I need to speak in that moment or at the period of my life. And often that will have an entertaining or a political aspect to it, and that's great. That makes for probably a better poem, but it's not my first goal. And I think that transfers to a lot of the people on the collective. I think in general, we all are aiming for expression first and foremost, but all of our pieces will have political and entertaining aspects, but really expression first. Yeah, so I So we're actually having a practice on Sunday where we're finalizing what solos each of us are going to put up. But, and I've written two that I want to decide between. One is about religion and kind of my experience with religion. I was raised Catholic, but now I kind of identify more as agnostic probably, so it's kind of about that. And then another one is about, I'm 3/8 Italian, which is obviously is not that much, but my mom's side of the family is really Italian. My grandparents are 100% Italian, so and I go there all the time. I have 15 cousins, and it's huge. And we always do big family gatherings, and they feel very Italian, so I identify a lot with being Italian, but I'm not that much Italian, so it's kind of about that.
Moonlight on the kitchen table is a sign of God, Grandma says. She is up past her 7 p.m. bedtime to cook ravioli for me. I have just arrived in Brooklyn off a plane. My grandma is the only person I believe when she says I stay in her prayers. In the hour and a half I sit with her, eating the ravioli she cooked for me, I watch her bless herself 3 times, wonder what she's praying for. My grandma sat front row at my baptism, my communion, and my confirmation, gave me gold cross jewelry at each. I wore the little necklace she gave me at my baptism every day until mid-elementary, and it felt safe.
We'll obviously come out to our performances. We really, really appreciate that. We already have a lot of our friends doing that. We want to extend beyond our friends. We want to be actually a presence on campus where a lot of people who we don't even know are coming to our events, which would be awesome. That's what we're going for. But beyond that, we're gonna, especially as we expand, we're gonna try to have a lot of events beyond showcases. But we are going to have auditions for the showcase. Probably, we were kind of playing around with whether we wanted it to be quarterly or fall quarter, spring quarter. Right now, we're thinking about just spring quarter, but the team is not going to be constant. It's going to change based on these auditions, bi-quarterly or quarterly, so people can still try out and get onto the team, get onto the collective. And then beyond that, we do want to have open mics, at least one every quarter beyond our showcase. And also we're thinking of, we said we were going to do this quarter, but it didn't really quite turn out, but we want to have writing workshops, Natalie and I, Natalie the other founder, where we take people through prompts and do things like that monthly or bi-monthly, and we want to implement that pretty soon, but this quarter has just been so busy.
I'm trying to birth a new language that has a word for what I am, that isn't scared or lonely or not enough.
After the 7th, 8th, 9th time, a boy told me he liked me because I was pretty. I didn't wear makeup for over a year, stopped trying to be looked at, started trying to be heard.